Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beacon Space and Unrestricted Lorefare. I am your host, Lichmaster98, and let me switch the scene on over. There we are. Are we going to light up? Hopefully, yeah, there we go. Let me go ahead and introduce my co-host for this evening, Calbrick. Feel free.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, and welcome into Beacon Space TV episode 7 here on Unrestricted Lorefare. If you're new and have no idea what's going on, let me give you a brief introduction. Once a month, we run a faction turn set in the world of Beacon Space, which uses a version of the rules from Stars Without Numbers faction turn system that has been modified to run in a community manner. So every month, the community provides faction turns that I execute on the spreadsheet, and this week, in our monthly lore stream, we get together and come see what fun lore and in-fiction elements have been created by members of the community in response to the most recent faction turns, and just their general existence of the factions in this setting. I think we've got a fantastic stream prepared today. And yeah, anything I've missed, Cal?
Oh, we have a lot of excellent submissions from the factions. Everyone's been working hard running the law machine, and I believe that we have a special story to start off our turn, explaining some of the mechanical elements that happened in the previous faction turn stream. So, without further ado, our first story today is from Mesud Villaro, who is reporting from the Telas Terra Group station. Mesud?
Well, thanks, Kubrick. I am BBTV's TTGI chief correspondent, Mesud Villaro, reporting from live on board the TTGI station in orbit around Tellus in the 0909 system. TTGI's daily press briefing today caused quite a commotion when it was announced that Dr. Marion Hummel, in coordination with the planet's new governor, that the Tellus terraforming Tellurium would be opening a full 3 months ahead of schedule. The T cubed plans to serve as a reminder of what the world of Tellus was once like before the Terra Group's bold plan to revitalize the planet. In their announcement today, Dr. Hummel explained that the Tellurium contains exhibits where visitors can see the different appearance of Tellus over the terraforming process, from its original barren shape into the life-sustaining world it's destined to be. In addition to these exhibits, Dr. Esposito and Tamboya will also be contributing archived reports about the terraforming process in an interactive exhibit in which visitors can try their best to make decisions about the terraforming process and see the impacts their choices would have had. This new technology seems to be powered by an AI application that's been in development for several years. Finally, I've heard rumors about an impressive food court with various food options from all across the sector participating in providing cultural delights to be tried. A 5-star experience is expected out of the table service restaurant, boasting an impressive 10-course menu prepared by the head of chef paired with an exquisite wine tasting. Management of TTGI hopes that the revenue provided will be able to offset the initial investment into the project, as well as provide the newly established government with a source of capital to manage the planet with. Oh, if you'd excuse me, I think I see Dr. Hummel in the distance. Let's see if he'll take a question live on air. Dr. Hummel, would you mind taking a quick question?
Yes, I can answer a quick question.
Great, I'm Masood with BBTV. Can you help our viewers understand what drove you to open the Telarium a full 3 months ahead of schedule?
Well, management of TTGI had begun preparing extra staffing in response to the potential voting reporting change that shield bearer Margaret Albury, who you remember, he petitioned for that. As the extra staffing was no longer needed for that project, I was able to petition and reassign and open the Telarium early. I do hope you'll join me on a platinum tour sometime soon.
I'll consider that to be a formal invitation.
Just don't forget your admission fee.
Always the salesman. Well, Halbert and Xavier back in the studio. Maybe the two of you will get a chance to take the tour before I do. Now, if you'd give me just a moment to relocate to my office, I have some reporting to bring up regarding astrotechnician Mary Jackson and her questions regarding a comet named Stravocaro. But for now, I've been Mesud Villaro reporting for BBTV on the Tellus Terra Group station in orbit of Tellus.
Quite the report there from the TTGI. It's interesting developments. I hope I can check out that Telarium soon. What do you think, Xavier?
Yes, I'm quite excited to be able to visit the Telarium. Though, do you think we'll be able to get you a pass to visit, given your current requirements to remain on station, Calbrick?
I will take a virtual tour. I'm sure that that is possible. Perhaps you can go and FaceTime me or something. I don't know.
I'm sure we can find a way to get you there. Speaking of your current situation, how have the renovations on the broadcast station been treating you?
Well, the gym's complete, but I am mostly using it as a clothes source. I must admit, I will get back to working out sometime soon, given it's all I have to do between that and broadcasting to the beacon space.
We do appreciate your dedication to broadcasting, but make sure you get your exercise in there. With that, I believe we have a report from what I believe has become one of our reporters' favorites, our viewers' favorite reporters. Maybe is a better way to say that. Coming in from the Children of the Vein. Let's take a look at their news report, and hopefully there will be no echo this time.
Hello, Beacon Space. This is your favourite reporter's assistant, Khalad Fai, stepping in for Chaz as he continues to investigate the vein clinics on Tellus. But rest assured, he will be back for our next report. In the meantime, I'll be subbing in to give you the latest in the sector. Of course, all details were verified by insider sources over the last few weeks in Beacon Space. Our first story will be one familiar to our viewers on Tellus. The Children of the Vein have officially greased enough palms to complete their infrastructural and administrative takeover of Tellus. In doing so, they have also re-established the Tellus Governing Office, an office that has not been in use for 189 years, with representatives of Hemisphere Logos appointing Administrator Cardinal Olive Blanche as Tellus's new leader. Administrator Cardinal Blanche is a Tellus native and the leader of the Vermilion Willow Vein. Blanche had this to say. Proud citizens of Tellus, the age of spring is here, and together we shall achieve greatness. It feels like a dream to have this goal so close. As a child, growing up on this once barren world, I envisioned a planet rich with life, and a joyful and thriving society enjoying the bountiful fruits of paradise. That vision is now within sight. I promise you, with all my will and faith, that I will work hand in hand with you, my fellow citizens, and the great minds and labourers of the Tellus Terror Group initiative, to see this great work completed. By our labours, we have provided a land of opportunity and plenty for our children, and in turn they shall repay our dedication with the shaping of a brighter future. Hopeful words from the Governor of Tellus. In other news, some of you may remember Bishop Arber of the Children of the Vein, a prominent and controversial figure heavily involved in the Vein's actions on Tellus in recent months. Well, we here at the studio have an exclusive scoop from our informants on Helokitis. Bishop Arber was recalled to Helokitis by representatives of Hemisphere Pathos last month to receive reported commendations for her recent leadership efforts. According to our sources, she was quickly escorted into the depths of the planet by a sizable Vein honour guard upon arrival, and ushered into the forbidden citadel of Veins for a private audience with Vein leadership. Shortly after this reported meeting, Vein leadership unveiled a vast new entity known as Robra, a so-called Herald of God. According to one source, this herald is revered by the Vein as a guardian angel and the guiding hand of God. Wait, what was that? Robra? Robra? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Wait a second. Chad had some notes on. I'm still live? Apologies. We here at the network will strive to uncover more information on this Robra entity. In our last story for the day, we have the latest information from the Vein and Ascent archaeologist teams at the Tellus ruins. Per reports from the Vane team, an event that started as an accident involving collapsing scaffolding ultimately led to the discovery of a hidden logistics hub on site. The crews there have begun further excavation efforts to clear the site and explore more of the hub in detail, but the effort is estimated to take some weeks. Where else may this hub lead, and how might it connect to the mysterious Peridot we heard about in previous reports? Meanwhile, elsewhere in the ruins, Ascent explorers appear to have discovered and unlocked a sealed chamber, an expert on the team managing to decipher ancient Rintaki script. In high spirits from their success, one Ascent explorer, Sibylla, had this to say: "The past lies still, which is why it's so easy to uncover it for anyone whose mind is used to racing thought." And that concludes our sector report, with great implications on the horizon. New game pieces are on the board, and now we just need to wait and see how players will act. Tune in next time for the latest information with amazing accuracy. This has been Khalad Fi, subbing in for Chaz Gusto Prime, plugging out.
Well, thank you, Khaled, for filling in for Chaz there this month. We appreciate the commitment to accurate information coming out of the Children of the Vane news reports. Their reporting team has been quite dedicated over the past several months.
Looks like Chaz Gusto Prime has some competition, although I'm sure it is a friendly one.
I'm sure it is indeed. We'll have to take a poll later to see what our viewers have as a preference of their favorite host. Meanwhile, Sector Meanwhile, in other news across the sector, the Agomala Syndicate have provided an update amongst a new planet they've recently discovered. Let's take a look there. And here we are. See, they've uncovered planet Q with the following report coming back to us. The pale blue-gray arc of the planet below stretches across the wide display at the front of the flagship, the Pedis Pagu, a welcome yet somewhat unexpected sight to those aboard. They'd heard rumors that this area of space was yet unexplored, but an inhabited world so close to their own hunting grounds was somewhat of a surprise. The ship's Lochagos looks up as a new report comes in, details of scans their hunting drones had captured before returning. They'd not wanted to approach further without getting by the lay of the land, and the desire to know the stakes of the hunt overruling the curiosity of what might lay below. Sifting through this report, they raise an eyebrow at its contents. As they suspected, the world was inhabited. The signals emanating from below are part of what had caught the fleet's attention in the first place. But it seemed the overall population itself was relatively low, based on what heat signatures the drone had been able to pick up, a task made easier by the planet's comparably chill climate. Not as frigid as Gome's inhospitable climate, but nothing like the warmth of Nueva Guatemala. A few images of fragmented ruins are included within this written report, which are not visible to our media version. Strange structures that seem out of place against the landscape, certainly not naturally made. Interestingly, perhaps something worth investigating, worth considering, certainly. Though they were still waiting for word from the leadership as to how to proceed, this was much a test of the capabilities of the Lepidis Pagu, as it was an exploratory mission. Perhaps they'd want to continue putting it through its paces to ensure it was up to the Syndicate's high standards. They sigh thoughtfully, leaning back in their chair as they regard the planet still looming on the viewplane. El Destino had seen fit to grant them a newly charted world on the fleet's first voyage. Surely such an occurrence was cause for celebration. Flicking their fingers over their shoulder, they'd call over one of the other crew present on the flight deck. Tomorrow's mission would come in time. Today, they'd break out the tequila and celebrate El Destino's favor.
The
All I know is
continued
after reading that report, I wanted tequila myself.
the continued exploration and discovery and rediscovery of the system in which we reside has been a fascinating thing to see this year, with the boom in exploration starting as reported on in our first reports of the previous cycle. And planet Q and all of the planets that we're continuing to discover are fascinating places. Who knows what else we will find out there.
It's surprising how much has been lost to the records of our system, given the events of the glitch. Quite unfortunate. Well, we'd like to thank the Agumala Syndicate from their submission, and we'll be moving right along to the next report, which I believe comes from us from the entire other side of the sector, Sector West, from our affiliate station of the, what is it, the Beacon Times, I believe?
Yes, the Beacon Times have coordinated with us for another exploration success, a rediscovery. They have submitted to us an article along with, we have a recording of a poem that will be explained in a moment. I shall read the article that they have sent. It is written by Hal Gilman of the Beacon Times, and they have to say, longtime readers of this column know that Sector West of Tellus and the Center System is known for little more than its dangerous megafauna and pirates. Casual travelers rarely enter this hostile space, and what few reports come from this area mostly speak of distress signals and rumored lost starships. However, recent developments have allowed us to expand upon the meager analytics provided to navigational matrices a few months ago by Tahara Y pathfinders. According to our source, the Times is able to verify that Tahara Y have secured a permanent custodianship over Pulahan, formerly designated as Planet J. Local populations have ostensibly welcomed the experienced whalers in handling megafauna that had been hindering intra- and inter-system navigation. In exchange, we report, the Tahara Y have received military starships and, going forward, a voice in planetary matters. Classically, the Tahara Y have been silent on the matter, other than quietly updating the name and planetary governance status on required star charts, and provided rudimentary information to the Tellus Terra Group. The Beacon Times would be remiss to neglect the additional unconventional sourcing of the reporting, a poem by the Dainian skald Rishi Brage. I met with Rishi Brage in a seedy bar on the deep space station VU-6 in system XXVIII, a frequent stop for many pirates in Sector West. Alone in a corner booth, they sat in shadow with patent robes covering their multitude of fluorescent tattoos. Speaking in hushed tones through a respirator that gave their voice a tinny timbre, they beaconed me to join them. But before I could make myself acquainted and settled in the slick cushioned seats, they began reciting in verse. The first news from the newly discovered Western systems, the tale felt ancient and timeless at the same time, as if already recited through generations and distilled into a literary epic. With permission from the skald Rishi, we have published their account abridged for our readers and listeners, and we would like to note that the original recitation of the poem lasted over an hour, and the Times was sadly unable to secure rights to publish the ballad in its entirety. And I believe due to the more varied medium of Beacon Space TV as opposed to our sisters Beacon Times, we have a recording of this poem for our viewers at home.
Yes, we do. Let's take a listen to it now.
A billion stories, all valid and profound, yet all are left so meaningless without the gifted sound. Brave but without bearings, amidst the endless sea, their ears begin to listen, their eyes can finally see. Old causes once worth dying for, with reason sparse and thin, divided now united, as they find a greater kin. The peoples of a planet, not lost, but not yet found, their minds and hearts now open, as they hear the gifted sound. Their fire begin to offer the wisdom they have learned, the peoples given knowledge, and in kind they do return. United by their difference and stories of their pain, and though they all do differ, their purpose is now the same. The fire grow ever stronger, new allies they embrace, uniqueness celebrated amidst this varied race. A billion stories, all valid and profound, and all will find true meaning when they hear the gifted sound.
A wonderful poem recited by the Rishi.
Truly beautiful. And as a sign off, Hal Gilman of the Beacon Times has to say, what is to come of the other two planets in the Nusantra system, designated as planets I and H respectively by the Beacon Space Navigation Authorities, as well as other nearby points of interest, remain uncertain, as 5 ships remain in the area. That is from Hal Gilman, an expert on Y culture and a reporter for 28 years with our sister, the Beacon Times. Thank you, Hal.
We appreciate your strong reporting coming in every day. And I too am interested in seeing what comes of these other planets in the Nusantara system, along with those other points of interest. It will be great to see the future exploration of the Phi, assuming that is their continued goal. With that, we'll move on to our next report coming in this evening from the Assembled Commonwealth, I believe. Yeah.
The Assembled Commonwealth have a report on the Treaty of the First Haven, an interesting event that has happened in recent times.
Quite exciting, and it appears they have provided us a wonderful missive and cover to go along with this. Would you mind giving us a reading of their announcement?
It says, Citizens of the Assembled Commonwealth, over the past few months, I, along with my advisors and representatives from the Assembly, have met with dignitaries from the Divine Collective of Mankira, and most importantly with the matriarch themselves. Our two people have long seen each other as friends and close trading partners, but from this day we shall be ever closer. It is my privilege that today I can announce the ratifying of the Treaty of First Haven. This treaty binds the people of the Commonwealth and the people of the newly titled Divine Protectorate of Mankira into a formal union, and welcomes the Divine Protectorate as the newest member of the assembled Commonwealth. In broad terms, the Treaty of First Haven removes all trade barriers for Commonwealth merchants and allows charter guilds access to the vast resources of Mankira. In return, the Commonwealth shall protect the people of Mankira and their sacred traditions, affording them all the rights and privileges of citizens of the assembled Commonwealth. I have instructed Adrian Mullen to take up the position of Adjutant General of the Divine Protectorate and work in conjunction with the Matriarch in building a fully robust and efficient administration that will represent the Commonwealth on Mankira. Eventually, formal representatives for the Assembly will be chosen by the people of Mankira, and the Divine Protectorate will become a fully fledged territory of the assembled Commonwealth. One of the first examples of our newfound cooperation is the establishment of a new military formation, known as the 20-Corps Makiran Defense Force. This formation will be fully integrated into the Commonwealth Naval Command structure, trained on Idarast and manned by both Mankirans and Idarai personnel alike. These men and women will defend the Commonwealth citizens of Mankira and will stand as a beacon of our newfound unity. It is the hope of both the matriarch and myself that one day the people of Mankira Niti will become an integral part of the Commonwealth. So, let this treaty be the first step towards long-lasting cooperation between our planets, and may it stand as a testament to the benefit of a cultural mosaic for all in the sector. That comes from the Assembly, the Eighth Arc, the leader of the Commonwealth, who is telling us of this political development, this treaty between Mankira and Idarast. Interesting developments. What do you think, Xavier?
It's quite interesting to see the rapid expansion of the Commonwealth's um, field of influence, and it's quite interesting to see how the Mankira and ET have joined in this formal union. It will be interesting to see how the evolution of the Commonwealth continues from there. history as being a rulership into this democratic republic that we know them as today.
It always strikes me, the Commonwealth, the sheer weight of history behind them, the gilding, the quality of their diplomatic missives, the propriety with which they carry themselves. Truly, they are an ancient and uh, monarchical assembled Commonwealth.
Of course, we deeply appreciate their formal artwork and including this entire missive in a nice leather-bound um, folder upon submission to BBTV.
As a reminder to our viewers, the reproduction or defacing of assembled Commonwealth seals and symbols, particularly those of the Eighth Arc, is punishable by death in certain parts of the sector. So do not break your local laws. Be advised, be aware.
Of course, we'd like to thank the assembled Commonwealth for their submission into today's broadcast. And if you are you hearing the same thing I am? I believe management's telling us we've got a secret recording that they've managed to acquire from somewhere on within the Children of the Veins sphere of influence. They're they're
Yeah,
telling they're telling me it's safe to broadcast. Are you sure we should go ahead with this?
yeah. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. The people are saying that there's a Children of the Vein secret recording coming through. I don't know if you've heard. Um,
Mm. Yeah, it
I
did.
can't
It seems
hear
like
you over the static.
well, let's just take a listen. They're saying it's safe to broadcast.
Praise Praise be. Behold, the herald of God.
Well, I don't know about you, but I am appropriately spooked out by that secret recording. Perhaps we'll find more details soon from the Children of the Vein. Maybe Chaz Gusto Prime will be able to give us some insight as to the whereabouts of where that recording has come from.
I don't know about you, but I'm terrified.
Quite. Hopefully, this doesn't have anything to do with the what was it, the Robrin or Robra, something like that that came up in our earlier reports. I hope it has nothing to do with that.
I am personally now worried that if I were to speak its name, it would be to give it more power, so I will not.
That seems like reasonable enough. With that, I believe we come to a report you've worked on this month, as we thank all of the factions for their submissions. And would you care to take away your own assignment?
Yes, in my studio confinement, as has been reported on rather publicly, much to my displeasure, I have been able to tie myself into trawling the beacon net for rumors and what some would disparagingly call conspiracy theories, but I like to call facts. We have a special report here. I have uncovered reports of continued criminal activity across beacon space. In seemingly unconnected events, individuals calling themselves free agents have been engaging in high profile crimes, corporate espionage, the sabotage of key infrastructure, kidnappings. They've all been perpetrated by people calling themselves free agents. I tried to get in contact with the head of TTGI security, and he stated to me this morning in a closed briefing, it is unknown if this is an organized underground movement, a terrorist plot, a political revolution, or anything other of the kind. We will remain vigilant and continue to investigate these incidents. We urge anyone with information on free agent activity to come forward and report it to your local law enforcement organization. In the interest of discovering both sides, I tried to reach out and find someone deep in the depths of the dark beacon net, and I received an anonymous tip from someone who purported to be a free agent. And their statement follows, quote, "Society has failed us. We are not a group. We are not an army. We are private citizens making a living any way we can. We are an idea. We will do what those in the spotlight cannot. Free agents are the future of Beacon Space." End quote. I would just like to state that Beacon Broadcast TV does not condone the acts of these free agents and encourage any of you that are listening to please turn yourself in.
Quite an interesting report. Might you know when you'll have more details following up on the story and perhaps the activities of these agents?
It will be coming as soon as I have any information further on confirmed sightings. I know there are law enforcement organizations ready and waiting to strike. Hopefully this does not tip them off and let the free agents escape.
Hopefully so. We'll be interested to see the upcoming reports on the developments of this story. And then finally today, we return to our cover reporter, Villaro, for an update that he mentioned earlier regarding the Stravocaro comment. Let's check in with him now and see if he has any updates about Mary Jackson's question. Hi all, Masood Villaro again for BBTV, your chief TTGI station correspondent. Today we bring you a story submitted by an ordinary citizen of the station, astrotechnician Mary Jackson. She reached out to all factions with a question, which I'll read for you now. To whom it may concern. As a concerned citizen, astrotechnician Mary Jackson, I write to you today to seek your understanding of a momentous occasion of the comet Stravocaro entering the 0909 system. This once in 400 Thalassian year event provides a wonderful opportunity for continued exploration of the stars. What does your group or faction find fascinating about this event? Comments may be returned via station mail at no cost to sender. I appreciate your forthright reply. Astrotechnician Mary Jackson. When BBTB followed up for comment, the Starlit Court replied very curtly, "Oh boy, a space rock flew into the system? We're an interstellar mercenary organization. The only comets that matter are the ones we're dropping on our enemies or fighting on top of. Now get out of my office." I, Villaro, quickly followed that advice and left their office. Potential customers seemed to get better service than reporters. Or perhaps it was just an off day? In better news, we received an audio reply from the Children of the Vein, and we'll listen to their statement now.
Greetings, astrotechnician Mary Jackson, and thank you for your question. Curiosity is the first step on the road to enlightenment. You ask, what is it that people like mine to myself find most interesting about the Stravocaro comet event? Well, to me, it is in the perception of meaning in the cosmos. When it comes to the divination of signs and wonders in the cosmic order within the field of astronomy and associated sciences among the scholars of the Children of the Vein, there are a number of competing schools of thought. The most prominent theories tend to diverge chiefly along the divide of determinism and chaos. To the scholarly determinist, there is an absolute truth to be perceived and divined in the pursuit of mathematical calculation and analysis in all sciences. Every stellar movement, biological impulse, and positioned speck of stardust may be calculated and predicted if one were to pursue the Herculean task of mathematically simulating the precise order of all reality. As such, in the school of the determinist, mathematics may be perceived as divine will. Among those that profess within the school of chaos, however, mathematical determination is simply the final result of the source of cosmic chaos, the settling dust of a great random act. To such theorists, divinity and the ways of the cosmic are simply the result of the chaos that set the natural universe in motion. As for myself, I walk the third path, The natural logical conclusion to the argument between chaos and determinism is that it is simply both. The metaphorical setting of the dust from the instigating chaos is naturally readily determined, and in all things lives the will, order, and chaos of the divine, which in chaos we are fated to determine and pursue meaning, prescribing something greater to a 400-year cycle of a singular cosmic body in the void. And the meaning we were always fated to perceive through the chaos under the shadow of Stravocaro is God's will being enacted on Telos, of course. Be blessed, Scholar Superior Luminous Rose, Vein of Many Eyes, College of Science.
Thank you, Scholar Superior Luminous Rose, for your insight on Stravocaro. Next, we received a short reply from the Amelhart Institute, whom simply said, Stravocaro orbits the Lidro system. Fun fact, AI Artifabrain have investigated the rock, and their reports have suggested the comet has shown signs of existing outside our current known sector. Quite an interesting piece of lore from the AI Amelhart Institute. Next, the Algomala Syndicate provide a look through their view at the comet Stravocaro.
Astrotechnician Mary Jackson, we are delighted at your inquiry regarding the Stravocaro comet. Our hunters spend much of their time among the stars, and so the phenomena which take place there are of special importance to us. Events on such long cycles as this one are of extra interest, as they invite us to reflect upon our ancestors' deeds and teachings. As our prey hunt among the stars, so do our ancestors go to meet them when they pass on, some to join the revered ranks of the Aegon and Elysian, others to hunt forever across the skies as the Orisha. Our communities turn to celebration and remembrance when such events occur, and the passing of this comet is no exception. Though it is some distance from our home system, the Telos system holds importance to the sector, which makes its celestial events of special note to all who share inhabitants of it. Let us all look to the comet as a reminder of what came before, and as a sign of what has yet to come, as El Destino does dictate. The Algomala Syndicate thanks you for your interest.
And we here at BBTV thank the Algomala Syndicate for their response. Celestial events are always a cause for reflection and celebration. For the latter, the assembled Commonwealth provides some idea of their thoughts of the event. In their statement, celebrations are in order, for once again Telos is visited by that ancient friend, the comet Stravocaro, last observed 4 centuries ago while the galaxy was in the throes of the disastrous glitch. The people of Idarast lived difficult lives, divided in our city-states, forging a new home in our burgeoning world. I am proud to see the progress the assembled Commonwealth has made, our people, now united, and able to withstand great hardship and still thrive. Yet we do not rest on these laurels. We've recently been joined in freedom by the people of the Menkura Niti, and strive to raise all those into freedom who desire it, beside us, under the common good. The people of Menkura view the arrival of Stravocaro different than most Commonwealth citizens. The matriarch herself was asked, and I relate her prophecy. The sky trail is a grave omen, and should be taken as a warning by all of the Pentient, and their pride shall be their downfall. Take heed and prostrate yourself to the goddesses. Let she who pleads extol your virtue, and hope she who judges heeds the call, lest your world be shattered like so much glass. The Commonwealth as a whole awaits Stravocaro's arrival with bated breath. May it be an occasion worthy of our long wait. BBTV, along with myself, Vararo, and citizen astrotechnician Mary Jackson, thank all of the faction for their comments regarding this inquiry and hope to see the comet Stravocaro as it passes by over the next few months. Now back to Kalbrek and Xavier in the studio. Thank you, Masood. It's always wonderful to hear your reporting coming from the TTGI station. And I believe the offices here have had one last submission from the Tahora Phi. Would you mind providing that to us, Kalbrek, as I believe it was forwarded to your working station?
It was. We received correspondence from Shalini Magio, the Tahara Phi representative to the TTGI, and they had this to say. Comets have long been omens of an uncertain future, distress signals of the stars, some say. For some, that type of omen instills fear and trepidation. They may face that challenge and answer the call with good intentions. However, they are oft led astray, falling prey to forces they could not conceive of. But not all omens are great portents of doom. Instead, for those that understand the true nature of the stars, they can be heralds of opportunity. It is for the observer to see what they need to in order to survive the harsh realities of our mutual space. Once again, that is from Shalini Megio, the Tahorify representative to the TTGI. It seems that they have a mixed message, bittersweet, that comets can bring doom and they can bring hope. We will have to hope that it is the latter.
Very fitting. We appreciate all the factions who provided comment on this most recent question by the citizen Mary Jackson. I think BBTV will be investing more in the future along the citizen asked question. If there's any viewer listening today that has a question they'd like to be passed along to all the factions, we appreciate your submissions. You can reach out in the Discord channel in the live stream chat with any of your questions, and maybe we'll pick yours. With that said, I believe that wraps up most of our reporting today. Calbreck, have you received any other late-breaking reports that I'm unaware of?
The only other late breaking report that I have is to break character for a moment and to talk about the free agent report is relating to a West Marches style system for one shots in beacon space that we'll be talking about more as we get more details and organize it. But start thinking about what you'd like to do in beacon space and if you'd like to play in some games. I know we've been talking about it for a long time and we are 6, 7, 8 months in now to unrestricted lawfare. So hopefully we can get that rolling soon.
Yeah, so the plan with those is we'll run the games on the Discord space. If people who are playing are fine with the game being recorded, we will make a local recording at the time, and then after the game, ask everyone who was involved if they were still fine with the episode being post-produced, and if everyone at that point in time still is fine with their voices being broadcast out on stream, we may be placing some of those games as a premiere type style release onto the Twitch channel here. We won't be doing any live gaming content as that provides a whole host of opportunities for things to go wrong. And as we're still learning the ropes, we wanted to do things in a pre-produced format. And that also means that we don't want people who don't want to have their don't want to play because they didn't want to be streamed. That restriction's not in place. We wanted to make sure that people could still play even if they didn't want to have it streamed on Twitch for any reason. So yeah, we wanted to be open for the entire community in that regard. And with that,
Yep.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, yep. I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, more details as soon as we have them.
Yeah, you should look for a post that'll probably go out and announcements hopefully within the next week. If not, maybe a little bit longer, but do know it's in the works. And we do have one last out of character task to accomplish today, and we're gonna switch scenes to make that happen. So, Kelbrick, you get to enjoy being on the faction turn spreadsheet screen with me. And we have a change to make, not anything mechanical, but the Tahora Fai in their announcements today did announce the name of Planet J, and so we want to make sure these are appropriately updated in the sheet. They've renamed the planet to Puluhan. Of course, it doesn't work out exactly how I'd like when pasting that in, that's all right. And then they've also gone ahead and renamed the system that this planet is in, along with planets H and I, to the Nusantara, Nusantara system, I believe. So we want to go ahead and make these updates and then go relocate any assets that are now on an invalid location, as I'm sure some will be. So let's just take a moment to do that. I realize this is somewhat unusual for a lore stream, but I did want to allow people to make full lore announcements of renaming planets if they wish to, and I said I would go ahead and take that now. So now we've updated that. That replaces the Tahora Faiz assets that were on Planet H and planet J, which is now called Puluhan, into the Nusantara system. That should be the only changes necessary on this map. We had already renamed the Concord of Mutual Disdain's recently seized planet of Yaika. The system name, I still haven't received an update from them. So once they're willing to, they've come to a conclusion on that. I believe they're still figuring out what they want to rename it to. For certain, it'll get updated at that point in time. So that's a reminder of anybody who has a seize in progress. If you are seizing one of the planet with a letter indicators, you do get to rename the system if you're the first planet. If you seize the first planet in that system, if it has multiple, for example. And again, you can make your announcements on the lore stream rather than the mechanical faction turn stream if you'd like to. So, I think that for real though does wrap us up here as we switch back to this other scene and jump our Discord indicators across the page. Do you have anything else, Calbrick, or do we just have date announcements left?
That's it from me.
Sounds great. So I think our upcoming faction turn dates that people should be aware of is the faction turn 7 does take place on April 3rd, which means that turn lock is April 1st, which I promise is not an April Fool's Day joke. And we'll be back at the streaming time of 1 p.m. EDT, not EST, as we've had daylight savings time come into effect. And by then, Europe, I believe, also hits daylight savings time, so we don't have the weird 4 hours between East Coast, North America, and UTC conversion. It'll be back to the normal 5. So all of that out of the way. And then, if that is on April 3rd, the lore stream should be sometime within the next 2 weeks after that, which would tentatively be scheduled for April 17th, and I'll confirm that with all relevant parties and get out the submission deadline dates in the faction representatives channel within the next couple of days, so that everyone has the dates well in advance. So I'd like to thank everyone for tuning out today, and I guess we have one more white elephant that we haven't mentioned. You may have noticed when you joined the stream today that a Twitch pre-roll ad may have played for you. Hopefully one has not played during the episode. We did get this channel affiliated with Twitch, so if you're at all interested, subscriptions are available. There's no emotes available on the channel yet. We're still in the process of figuring out what we want our current 1 emote slot to be, but it should be filled in hopefully by the faction turn stream, so long as Twitch's process for accepting that doesn't get delayed for a very long time. So yeah, we've got that exciting milestone out of the way, and we'll be looking forward to see suggestions for perhaps what could fill the couple of emote slots as we unlock them. And of course, subscriptions are appreciated if you're able to do so for our twice a month streams. Any funds made by the subscription to the Twitch channel will be rolled back into UL content in some way, either paying for the hosting services that is used by the Passport bot, or a variety of other the website services, for example, that are hosting the current map. We'll make sure that if income does actually start rolling in, we provide reports so that it's not just us taking the money. It is actually just going to be rolling back into the content and the products that are being used to support all the different things you see here. So with that, thanks for joining in today on the Beacon Space Broadcast TV's episode 7, the Stravocaro episode. I've been Lichmaster98, your host here, and we've had our lovely co-host Calbrick.
I am Lupus Calrex, reporting live from my studio apartment.
We thank everyone for tuning out today, and we leave you with some nice chill tunes as we end today's stream. Thanks for tuning in.